right, so we are going to get started on our backs today. And this is going to be more of a hip opening class. So if you have blocks, you can have blocks by your mat. If you have a blanket, you can bring it in too. But we're going to start with the soles of the feet together and the knees falling out wide. And just allowing the arms to fall wherever comfortable. So by our sides, anywhere on the body. And just starting to take these first few moments of class to just arrive here. Maybe allowing the eyes to draw closed. Noticing the breath flowing in and out of the body. And our theme of class today is going to be practicing surrendering. So noticing where we're carrying tension throughout the body and just seeing where else we can let go. Taking a big inhale in through the nose, filling the chest, the belly expands, and exhaling, the belly releases, the chest falls out the nose. Inhaling the nose, the chest, the belly, and exhaling the belly, the chest, out the nose. Continuing with this 3-part breath at our own pace. We'll do one more together. Next inhale in through the nose, filling the chest, the belly fills, maybe taking one more sip of air at the top, and then exhaling, the belly releases, the chest falls out the nose. On our next inhale, we can start to flutter the eyes open. And we'll bring the hands to the outer edges of the thighs, pressing the knees together. We'll inhale both knees into the chest here. And feel free to draw circles with the knees to massage the lower back. And switch directions of our circle. And starting to warm up the spine, we'll put both feet on the mat here. Arms can come out to a T, and we'll slowly just allow the knees to fall over towards the right and pausing here. It's okay if the left hip is lifting a little. Then we're going to just swing them over to the other side. Knees come through center and over to the left. And then just starting to kind of find some movement in this. So almost windshield wiping the knees back and forth. Going at our own pace here. And while we're here, you can continue with this. If you'd like to make this a little bit more active, start to bring in the core. We can maybe lift the feet, and we're still working on that knee motion. Your lower back and belly button is pulling in, tucking the tailbone in. pressing the lower back into the mat. Just breathing here. Last time. On our next inhale, hugging both knees back into the chest. We'll go ahead and start to rock back and forth, starting small, and then working our way up to bigger rocks until we can come all the way up into a comfortable seated position. And we're just gonna come into an easy seat, so crisscross applesauce at the top of our mat. If you wanna elevate the hips a little bit, you can sit on top of a block. Totally up to you. Relaxing the shoulders down and back, sitting up nice and tall here, drawing the belly button in. And coming back to the breath. Starting to warm up the body. You'll notice we're gonna kind of start up towards the top and make our way down. So we're gonna start by dropping our left ear over towards the left shoulder. And then exhaling, bringing the chin towards our chest. Very slow. Noticing every feeling as we make our way over towards the right ear, towards the right shoulder. Big deep breath in. And exhaling, chin to chest. Noticing it move to the back of the neck. And then moving back and forth at whatever pace feels good. Pausing in any spots that are a little stickier. And then we'll make our way back to center. From here, we're gonna inhale, shrugging the shoulders up towards our ears, and exhaling back and down. Inhaling to shrug, really tensing in the neck, and then exhaling, sliding the shoulders back and down, releasing the tension, going at our own pace. And then switching directions of the circle, starting to move the shoulders forward this time. And coming back through center. From here, we're gonna switch the crossing of our seat here, so the opposite leg is in front. We're just gonna come into some side bends. So right hand comes to our side and we're inhaling the left arm up and overhead. Maybe our right elbow bends. And I want us to first really focus on lifting the chest up towards the sky. Maybe the gaze is up towards the sky. We're turning our ribs open and up here. Big, deep inhale in. And then our exhale, we'll start to sweep the left arm across the face and pause here. We're kind of in almost like you're hugging a barrel, really feeling that stretch along the left side body, reaching with the left fingertips. And then exhaling, walking the hands towards center, folding forward here. You can shake the head. Rock back and forth if you want to find any movement, or you can just stay still. On your next inhale, walking the hands back up, sitting up nice and tall, rolling the shoulders back and down. And then we'll switch sides. Left hand comes to our left side, inhaling the right arm up and overhead. Chest is lifted and turned up towards the sky. Big deep breath in. And on our exhale, sweeping the right arm across the face, pausing as we're reaching at a diagonal and almost like we're hugging a barrel, really reaching the right arm up and out, reaching out of that right hip socket. And exhaling, walking the hands towards center, folding forward here, releasing the head. And when we're ready, starting to walk the hands back up. If we're on a block, we can set it to the side. And we're just gonna come into a tabletop position. So hips are over the knees and shoulders are over the wrists. We're gonna come into just some hip circles to start, so you can tuck the toes if you want. And we're just gonna start by coming all the way back, sinking back into the hips, and then rocking forward and really gripping the mat with our finger pads and knuckles as we rock forward. It's a wrist and a hip warm up. Going as fast or slow as you'd like, pausing anywhere. And then switching directions of our circle. We already know. Really coming back to the breath here, seeing how we can sync the breath with our movement. Coming back through center, untucking the toes if they're tucked, inhaling, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze for cow, and exhaling, rounding out, tucking in the chin for cat, inhaling for cow, and exhaling for cat. Moving with our own breath here, and finding any other movements that feel good, maybe going side to side as well, maybe back and forth, maybe we're kind of drawing circles with the chest. Just really using these next few moments to warm up the body in any way that feels good, judgment free. And when we're ready, we're gonna meet back in our neutral tabletop and we're gonna come into our first down dog. So tucking the toes, keeping a deep bend in the knees, lifting the hips, the tailbone up high towards the sky. We're still gripping the mat with our finger pads and knuckles here. And for this first one, I want us to have a big deep bend in the knees, and we're really focusing on lengthening all the way from the hands through the side body and up through our sit bones. You can start to bend one knee at a time to pedal out the feet, start to warm up the back of the legs. And on our next inhale, the gaze is forward. We'll shift forward and come all the way onto our bellies. We're gonna do a little bit of a cobra warm up with just one slight variation that's gonna prepare us for a stretch later on in class. But we can tent the fingertips out and wide of the mat. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring our right knee out and over to the right. You can have your foot parallel with your knee as best as possible, or it can be in if that's more comfortable. If our knees are sensitive, you can always put a blanket underneath the knee. And if this is just not comfortable at all, you don't have to try it. We're just starting to open up the hips here. With the fingertips tented or the palms flat. On our inhale, we're pressing through the hands, lifting the chest, feeling that stretch in our hip as well. Opening up the spaces between the collarbones, gaze is up, and exhaling, pulling ourselves forward onto the mat to lengthen the spine, exhaling down, inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, releasing down. Just one more time, inhaling to press up, And exhaling, releasing down. Tucking the right knee in, right leg goes long. We'll take a cobra hold here, traditional one, with both legs back behind us. Palms are a little bit more in, right on the edges of our mat, I recommend. And on our next inhale, pressing through the palms, lifting the chest, wrapping the elbows back here. We're pressing in through the tops of the feet, lengthening the neck, breathing here, squeezing the glutes, lifting up and out of the low back, and exhaling, pulling ourselves forward and down. Just switching sides, we're gonna do that flow one more time. So left knee this time comes out into the left. I know you can't really see it, but foot is parallel with the knee if it's comfortable, or it can be tucked in, kind of like a tree pose. Fingertips are tented, or you can have palms down. Inhaling, lifting the chest, wrapping the elbows back, gaze lifts. Exhaling, melting down. 2 more times. And on our last time, hands come back in, left leg comes in, tucking the toes, kneading back, in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. On our next inhale, the gaze is towards the top of our mat, and we'll take little steps all the way to the top, taking our time here, being curious in every step along the way. Until we meet at the top of our mat, forward fold, our first one. Feet are going to be hips distance. A good way to measure is 2 fists in between the arches of your feet. Keeping a nice bend in the knees. We're lifting through the sit bones. Head and upper body hangs heavy. We can grab opposite elbows here and sway side to side for a ragdoll. Shaking the head no, and nodding the head yes, helping shake and release some of that tension in the neck. And switching the grip of our elbows. Inhaling for our halfway lift, nice flat back, gaze is down, rolling the shoulders back and down. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, sweeping the arms out and up to stand. And exhaling, diving right back down, forward fold. We'll do one full sun salutation and then move into our deep stretch flow. So inhaling, bending the knees so much so that we can plant the hands down on the mat. We're gonna step straight back into our downward facing dog on the exhale. Inhaling, shifting the weight forward, coming into high plank or dropping the knees for kneeling plank. And exhaling, chaturanga, coming halfway or all the way down. Inhaling for up dog or baby cobra, squeezing the elbows back behind you. And then our exhale, pressing back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, the gaze is to the top of the mat. We'll travel there. And exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling, fold. Inhaling, sweeping both arms out and up. And exhaling, diving down, releasing the head and neck. And our next inhale, bending the knees so that we can plant the hands down. We're going to step straight back into our downward facing dog. On our next inhale, We're gonna step the right foot forward, placing it in between the hands. If your foot doesn't quite make it, you can always use your hands to help. And so we're in a low lunge here. And if you have that blanket, you're more than welcome to put it on the floor and put your left knee on top of it. We're just gonna pause here. We're really breathing into that left hip flexor. If you have blocks, you can put blocks on either side. And we'll start to straighten the right leg, bringing the blocks back if you have them, or the hands. Right toes flex towards the face. Starting to walk the blocks forward again. Blocks can go over towards the left. We're gonna come into a lizard pose. So we're gonna heel toe the right foot over to the outer edge of the mat. Both hands come to the inside of the right foot here. We can keep the back knee down. You can have your hands on blocks if you'd like. If you want to come into a full lizard pose here, you can lift the back knee if you'd like. You can maybe try and come onto forearms. For right now, we're focusing on squeezing the right knee in towards the right shoulder. So wherever we're at, it's easy to kind of let that right knee splay out to the right. But for now, we're squeezing the right knee in, breathing here. And then from here, we'll drop the back knee if it's not down already, and we'll start to flex the right foot and come on to the outer blade edge of the right foot. And you can feel that hip opening here. This might feel like more than enough. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can gently use the palm of your hand to just ever so slightly push the right knee out towards the right. Breathing here. Inhaling, coming back through center. Heel toeing the right foot in between the hands again. Tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee. We are in a low lunge. And from here, we are going to sweep both arms up, forward and up, coming into a high lunge. I know I'm kind of out of the screen. But from here, we're gonna bring the back foot at a 45-degree angle. We can shorten our stance. We're gonna straighten the front leg, inhaling, reaching both arms up, and exhaling, folding over the right leg, pyramid pose. If you have blocks, you can put the blocks on either side of the right foot. Shorten or lengthen the stance. It's easy in pyramid pose for the right hip to kind of swing out. So we're pulling the right hip in towards midline, sending the right hip back, lengthening through the spine, lifting the belly up and over, out of the hips on each breath. And from here, we can inhale, sweeping both arms up and overhead. And on our exhale, turning the back foot so that it's parallel with the back edge of our mat. Bending in through the front right knee. Warrior two here. We should be able to see our big toe just on the inside of our knee as we look down, relaxing the shoulders. And on our next inhale, we're gonna sweep both arms up overhead and both toes are gonna point towards the left long edge of the mat here. And we're gonna come into a straddle forward fold. So both arms reach up and exhaling, folding forward, hinging at the hips here. We want our feet nice and parallel to get a really nice hamstring stretch. We can walk the hands out a little bit so that it's underneath our face. And while we're here, we're gonna really focus on trying to send the sit bones and the tailbones back, lifting the thigh bones, reaching the tailbone back, and from here you can start to walk the hands out as much as you possibly can. And you have a little bit of opposing forces. You're planting your hands down, really getting a stretch along the side body, but you're also lifting your thighs and pressing your sit bone back, leaning back as much as you can. Breathing here. You can stay there if you love that stretch. Take any more other movements that feel good. We can grab opposite elbows. You can maybe bend one knee at a time. Find any nice side stretches. Really just doing whatever feels good in the moment. You can even kind of bend the knees and almost dance a little. This is our time on the mat. Whatever feels good. And then when we're ready, we'll start to walk the hands to frame the right foot at the top of the mat. And exhaling, right foot steps back, downward facing dog. We're gonna drop both knees to the outside edge of the mat. Big toes come to touch. First child's pose, Malasana. Sinking back into the hips. Reaching the arms out in front of us. Just coming back to the breath. And taking our time, there's no rush. We'll meet back in our downward facing dog. Maybe just take a moment to notice the difference between both sides. And on our next inhale, we'll step the left foot in between the hands. If it doesn't quite make it, you can always use your hands to help. And we are in a low lunge. So you can always bring a blanket and set the back right knee down if you have a sensitive knee. And we're gonna stay here. So if you have blocks, you can bring blocks to either side of your feet, of your left foot, your front foot. Just breathing into that right hip flexor, right in the front. And starting to straighten the front leg, walking the hands or the blocks flat back, left toes flex towards the face. Breathing, bending into that left knee. Keeping the blocks where close by, because we'll have them more towards the right side. We're gonna heel toe the left foot to the left edge of the mat. Both hands come to the inside of the left foot. And now we have our options for lizards. So we can stay right here. It feels better. We can even have our hands up on blocks. For now, we're focusing on pulling the left knee in towards the arm, doing our best not to let it fall out to the left for now. If you want it to be a little bit more active, we can lift the back knee. If our hips are more open, you can come down onto forearms. Maybe you don't need the block. We're just breathing here. And on our next inhale, coming up from wherever we were, back knee is gonna drop. And we're gonna purposely start to flex the left toes and come on to the outer blade edge of the left foot. We're on the right hand. Maybe this feels great. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can take your left palm, very light, gentle pressure on the inside of the knee, and you'll feel that stretch even more. We're still flexing the left toes here to protect the knee. Maybe opening up the chest. And inhaling, hands come back down. Heel toe the left foot towards the middle. Tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee. We're gonna come into our high lunge here. So we can always widen our stance if we need to. Inhaling, both arms reach up and overhead. And exhaling, we're gonna straighten the front leg. Back knee comes in and plants down at a 45-degree angle. And we're coming into our pyramid pose. So if you have blocks, you can have them on either side of the left foot. We're inhaling, reaching both arms up. Both hips are pointed towards the front of the mat. And exhaling, lifting up and out of the hips, folding over that left leg. And again, focusing on hugging the left hip back and in. And from here, we'll start to bend into the left knee, inhaling, sweeping both arms up, and exhaling, back foot turn so it's parallel with the back edge of our mat, bending in through the front left knee, warrior two on our left side, relaxing the shoulders. Inhaling, straightening both legs, both toes face towards the long edge of the right side of our mat. Inhaling, reaching both arms up. And exhaling, diving down, forward fold. All right, we are gonna come into a lovely side stretch right now. This is one of my favorite stretches. It's optional if you just wanna stay here. If you wanna do the side stretch, we'll start to bend into the left knee first. And we'll walk the hands over and maybe a little even past the left toes at a diagonal. You can really even use the left hand to plant your right palm down. Head hangs heavy. And when we're ready, we'll start to straighten the left leg. We're still relaxing the chest through the arms, and you'll feel that beautiful stretch all the way from the outside of the pinky finger down through the right side body into that right hip socket. Sending the hips back. Maybe this feels great. If we want to take it a step further, we can even start to bend the right knee, sending the weight back into the hips. Breathing here. We're still trying to turn the belly and the chest from the left over to the right. And coming back through center, hands come to center, straightening both legs. Finding any movement that feels good in between that to loosen anything up. And we're gonna go right into the other side. So we'll start to bend the right knee. We'll walk the hands over past the right toes at a diagonal, really planting the left hand down. Head hangs heavy. And once we're ready, we'll start to straighten that right leg. Maybe we stay here, or maybe we even start to bend the left knee, sending the hips back, reaching through the left pinky, sending the breath into the left side body. And then starting to come back to center slowly. Finding any last shakes here. And then we're gonna take a really deep bend in the knees, and we'll bring our hands to our hips and just slowly start to roll up. Taking our time. Pausing at the top, noticing if we're lightheaded at all. And once we're at the top, we're just gonna simply step to the top of our mat. I'm gonna scoot back a little bit. I'm sorry that you can't see my face, but it's just the way that the camera is set up. But we're gonna be doing a balancing pose here. Our hips are very open. So we're gonna start by grounding all four corners of the left foot into the mat. And every time I say four corners, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not really including the toes, but you can also spread the toes. And we're gonna inhale the right knee up towards the sky, level with the hip. Maybe we can even grab the right knee with our right hand. I have my left hand on my hip, but you can have it wherever's comfortable. And we're finding our balance here, drawing the belly button in, rooting through the left heel, lifting all the way up through the crown of the head. And maybe we can even start to bring the right knee out and over to the right. You can bring the left arm out as a counterbalance. If you want an extra challenge, I'm coming down just so that you can see me, but we're doing this balance. If you want that extra challenge, you can start to bring the gaze over to the left. This is really hard to do on a knee. Over to the left is what we're doing while we're standing. And on our next exhale, slowly releasing down, shaking out the arms and the legs. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. So grounding the right foot into the mat this time. Right hand can come on the hip, left knee comes up towards the sky, grabbing the left knee with the left hand, and just pausing here. Grounding through the right foot, finding our balance. And maybe we can start to bring the left knee out and over to the left. You can bring the right arm out as a counterbalance. If you fall out, we're just getting right back in. If you want that extra challenge, you can start to bring the gaze over towards the right hand. It's hard to do when you're down. 2 full breaths here. And on our next exhale, we're releasing the legs, releasing the arms, shaking them out. Great job. We'll bring the blocks to the side of our mat, out of the way. Top of the mat, big inhale, sweeping both arms out and up. And exhaling, diving down, forward fold, head hangs heavy. We're gonna come into one more, or some of our final stretches from here on out. So first we're gonna come into gorilla pose. So we're gonna take a really deep bend in the knees, so much so that our chest is going to be resting on top of the thighs. So big bend in the knees, head hangs heavy. And while we're here, we may be able to bring our hands, palms up underneath the feet. So you still have that really deep bend in the knees. You can always widen your feet if you need to make room for the belly. But we want the chest supported by the thighs here. Head is hanging heavy. And we're just breathing here in our gorilla pose. You can wiggle the toes to almost massage the wrist creases and the palms. You're really focusing on releasing the neck and lifting the tailbone, but you're still keeping the bend to the knees. Breathing here. When we're ready, we can remove the hands, shake out anything while we're here in our forward fold. And then we're going to bend the knees, plant the hands, and step straight back into downward facing dog. And we're going to drop the knees here, untuck the toes. And we're going to come into our frog pose. So this is the stretch that we've really been preparing for most of class. If you have sensitive knees, you can put them in the middle of your mat for underneath. But we're gonna face the long edge of our mat, doesn't matter which way. And we're gonna act like we're gonna go into a child's pose. So knees are out wider than the hips, big toes are together, hands are just reaching out in front of us for now. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the feet in line with the knees, and if we're able to, bring the inner blade edge of the feet on to the floor. You can see my heel doesn't reach the floor. That's perfectly normal. If this is not comfortable at all, you can have the feet closer in, but we're still working to get the blade edge of the feet on. And you can maybe even widen the stance more. Again, a blanket will definitely make this more comfortable because this is hard on the knees. It's hard on my knees right now. But so we're in this kind of frog position. You can have your hands on blocks. You can bring your forearms down. And we're gonna be in this for a good 10 breaths. So, like I said at the beginning of class, our theme is surrendering. This is not the most comfortable pose. This is not a pose that I often like to practice because it's not easy. I'll switch the angles so that you can see. But hip openers are really great to do, especially in the evening. More breaths here, seeing where we can still let go. And from wherever we are, we'll bring the tops of the feet onto the mat, big toes come back to touch, walking the hands back, knees come together, and we'll come all the way to sit. That was a very big hip opener. And we'll do some twisting and other things to kind of help release it. If you want to do one more core exercise before we come onto our backs, we're gonna do a boat pose. If we're not feeling it tonight, just meet me on your back. That's where we'll be next. But if you want to come into the boat pose, we'll start to shift the weight back, lifting the chest still here. And we'll shift the weight on the tailbone so that the feet get lighter. You can have the hands underneath the thighs or reaching out in front of you, palms up. The feet are lifted. Maybe we can bring them chest level. Still lifting the chest here. It's not easy. Coming back to the breath. Noticing where we're holding on, where maybe we don't need to. Maybe we're clenching the hands or the face or the jaw. We're definitely clenching our bellies, our tummy muscles. But seeing where we can relax while we're still lengthening, lifting, reaching. One more breath. And exhaling, coming all the way down, maybe through a hollow, and then all the way onto our backs, melting down here. Inhaling both knees into the chest, drawing circles with the knees to massage the lower back. And switching directions of our circle. We will inhale the right knee into the chest. Left leg is going to go long. And we'll go ahead and bring this right knee over and out to the right, almost like we're pulling it in towards the armpit, but just staying nice and gentle here. And when we're ready, taking that right knee over across the body, finding a twist. Arms come out to a T, the gaze is over the right shoulder. Inhaling, right knee comes back through center. And exhaling, just switching sides. Right leg goes long, left knee into the chest. And on our next inhale, left knee comes over to the left, almost hugging the left knee towards the left armpit. And when we're ready, starting to take that left knee over across the body, finding a twist. Arms come out to a T, gaze is over the left shoulder this time. Inhaling, left knee comes back through center. And exhaling, left foot plants on the mat. We're going to come into a figure four. Right ankle comes on top of the knee. Flexing the right foot, right knee falls out to the side. Maybe we feel a stretch here. If our hips are a little bit more open, we can reach through that keyhole and grab underneath the thigh. Still flexing the right foot here, flexing both feet, and just breathing. On the next exhale, releasing the hands, just switching sides. Right foot plants down, left ankle comes on top of the knee. Flexing both feet. Maybe we stay here, or maybe we reach through and grab underneath the thigh. Flexing both feet. Releasing the hands, right foot comes down, left foot comes down. We're gonna do 2 bridges before our final stretches. So we wanna bring our arms at our sides, palms down. They should just be grazing the back of the heels. On our next inhale, pressing through the palms, pressing through the feet to lift the hips up. We're squeezing the glutes here, pulling the heels back towards the chest to start to activate the back of the legs. And exhaling, releasing down. Windshield like the knees if that feels good. And then just one more, coming back through center, arms at our sides, inhaling, pressing through the hands and feet, lifting the hips up, squeezing the glutes, pulling the heels back towards our chest. Maybe we're able to clasp the hands and tuck the shoulder blades underneath, really pressing the fists down into the earth, pressing the palms of our hands. Wherever we are, exhaling, releasing down. We'll inhale the knees into the chest one last time. From here, both feet plant down onto the mat. We can lay the legs out long, feet are as wide as the mat, taking up as much space as we need here. Arms come out to the side. Just starting to settle here in our final relaxation for Shavasana. The eyes can fall closed. Just starting to melt here. Release any tension in the body. Allowing ourselves to just be. Coming back to that intention of just surrendering, seeing where we're still hanging on, releasing the tension in the face, down through the chest, the hips, out the feet. Just feeling a wave of relaxation, fully surrendering. Noticing the breath and the quality and depth of it. And just allowing ourselves to be fully still here. Fully still in the body. And fully still in the mind. Shavasana. Invite you to stay in Shavasana, luxuriate here for 5 or 10 more minutes. Otherwise, if you're coming out with me, we'll start to wiggle the toes and fingers, rock the head side to side. We'll slowly bring both feet onto the mat. Inhale the right arm up overhead. And exhaling, slowly rolling over to the right side, using the right arm as a pillow, and pausing here. Pressing through the left hand, coming up to a comfortable seat. Just taking a moment to thank ourselves for carving this hour out of our day for our practice. Taking the time to honor our bodies for all it allowed us to do throughout this practice. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste.